Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to another Simon on the Sofa. I don't have the ability to put up a little image there today to thank my patrons because for some reason it's not working in Google Hangout. But I just want to say thank you to my patrons. The patrons, that's you beautiful people. There's now 15 of you, 16 of you that are actually contributing small funds as an ongoing contribution to Simon on the Sofa, which is enabling me to slowly build up enough funds to buy some new equipment and also to invite somebody to help and support the continuation of this project. A little right-hand mini Simon. Yeah, I'm going to invest in one. Might be like a robot or something, or a clone, maybe even a clone of me. So anyway, today we are having another transparent conversation. And actually, if you've been following Simon on the Sofa for some time, you might know Ratheesh, because this will be the third time I've sat with him on the sofa. This is now a virtual one. And also we've spoke on a little radio show that we did a couple of years ago. So welcome back to Simon on the Sofa, Ratheesh.
Thank you, Simon. It's always a pleasure to sit with you.
Yes, it's great to be with you again today. So I'm just going to share with people viewing is if you haven't already jumped on board, there's a little reason for today's conversation. As much as I love talking to Ratheesh, and we always have rich conversations, we're also coming together at this time because we're continuing when we actually met was through a beautiful movement that Ratheesh and Carolyn have started called Yoga Makes a Difference. And if you remember that first conversation with Ratheesh, you will remember that we were actually watching the sunrise come up in Barcelona. And at the time, it was when I first met Ratheesh, and I was taking part in the Yoga Makes a Difference movement, which is 10 days free education, taking this free education around the world to spread a ripple of yoga education and loving kindness. So Ratheesh, today I just like to, just to drop in really, because we haven't spoken for quite some time, and just love to hear like what's happening for you in this moment. Where are you at? What's alive in you at the moment?
Well, the very live thing in every one of us, of course, is the breath, which we are very grateful unconsciously or consciously. So I'm quite present with the breath, as well as I'm in Sweden, Stockholm, as one of the yoga studio that I incorporated teaching classes. Everything else is fine. Summer is just around the corner of Swedish border, so it's always very, even though they're cloudy and rainy, people are really waiting for that beaming sunlight again.
Yes. Yeah. And you just come back from India, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And what was you up to there? What's happening in India now? Because I know you travel there a lot, but yeah, I'd love to. I haven't actually genuinely asked you what you were doing in there. I think you was teaching, but what was you up to?
We work with some ancient physical therapies as well for the different individual have problem with either skeletal bone structure problem with the knee joint pain or back pains. Both mentally and physically, where they really worn out from different kinds of paths in life and everything. So I had this 19 days, basically it's 21 days, but 19 days, about 12 persons who are staying in a place that is quite isolated from the rest of the world. Zero carbon area, surrounded by the Western Ghats of mountains in South India. So we use some of the ancient knowledge of herbal medicines, actually body physical therapies, to help them to get back on natural strength and ability in their body and mind.
Wonderful. Yeah. That's beautiful. And is that something you've done before? You was doing that with some other yogis as well, or is that just?
Yeah, we have from a family. Few of my brothers are actually involved in this as a physical therapy. It has been in our life a pretty long time, so we're regular on that. About 3 retreats a year, and
Wonderful.
we have great results from people. Some people are really, we got a queue for the next 4 years to be attend the event.
Wow. Wow. So the results are profound, and that's like, is that when you say, is that rehabilitating them back to, like, you know, full health, mobility, and mental health as well? Is it like what everything you do, the whole philosophy?
Yeah, it starts with when people are in such a conditions. It's always appropriate to give them a proper relaxation. So there you start with the body using therapeutical treatments, and then slowly applying the medicines, kind of herbal medicines, to the blood to de-stress, detoxify, and slowly get into the mind. And we will really actually teach them some scientific way of breathing for life and endurance. And then it will, during this period, they will also learn how to relax, how to breathe properly, how to have a meditation to keep a positive mind. They do get like 2 times physical contact treatments, and then rest of the time they're silent. So it's just a kind of from inside out, or you could say the other way around.
Yeah, beautiful. Like a whole reprogramming and overhaul of the system, right? Of the cellular.
Yeah. It's kind of cleansing the basic substance from lifestyle and paths.
Yeah, beautiful, super. So, you know, we have this. You know, I mean, me personally, I just like the way that our relationship is evolving, and I like that. I always benefit from just listening to you and being around you and so on. And I know we've come together again. Sort of yoga's brought us together. You could say again, yoga and love. But you know, we have this short time together. Like, in terms of like what's alive in you at the moment. I know you're there in Sweden, but in terms of like maybe a message that we have, or that you have, that we can have a discussion around. What's the alive message in you at the moment for maybe the people you're meeting along the path, or your students that are coming to your sessions? You know, what's that through line? I know we spoke the other day and it's about connection, but I'd love to just to jump into a little bit of your philosophy and insights around where we are as, you know, humans on the path of personal freedom.
Of course. Let me see if I can put this in the most simple and short way. To all of us, to all mankind, to be sure, happiness and the peace and the kind and compassion and love, it's already holding a promises in the part of your mind. So you shall not look for these kind of things outside. But the other half is functioned by our 5 senses. Our 5 senses are really like an open doors or untrained wild horses. As you hear something, you can actually, your concentration goes that way, and you can even create an image on the sound, based on the sound what you heard. So your mind this way is fully active and busy. Of course, this is from the very busyness that you pick up the vital data of information on the learning. But at the same time, it's also as much as information that you put into externally, starting from life, work, social media, Facebook, and all those things, the awareness and attention and focus that you give externally, remember to give also same kind of energy and awareness internally to the other half of the mind, where you actually search externally. It's already lies within us. So never react from an altered state of mind. That is just an altered state. It will only go back to better what it was before. So, and I don't know how to put this in more simple.
No, that's good. That's simple. That's simple. That was simple and concise for you. That was very nice. So, you know, this is nice because we can drop a little bit deeper into the meditation, and just it'd be lovely to hear like how yeah, how that meditation and that sort of inward connection came for you. You know, I'd love you to share to the people listening today, like, you know, what that's really brought to you by going deeper into meditation and that meditative state, you know, because I know that it's something you've been doing for a long time, but I think it'd be really rich to hear how, just, you know, because for example, Ratheesh, as you know, I'm meditating more and more, and I'm doing yoga more and more, and that's bringing much more deeper awareness of my inner being, and that's, you know, that's sort of stripping away and making me die to a lot more of what I thought might have been real. And when I meet people, like sometimes, Ratheesh, just to, like, they find it very difficult just to close their eyes for 5 minutes per day and just breathe and look inward. So I'd love to hear a few nuggets from, you know, how you got into that, and also maybe what you've been experiencing with others.
It's only recently that I started to notice a significant change in the thought ways after a long time of sitting quiet and silent. But it's you know, you have made a lot of grooves on your brain cells, which keeps us lots of memories and thoughts from the past and then the future. So it's really like there's a lot of groove of scratches that can make you kind of unpresent about it, sometimes occasionally present, and then you kind of loses the focus and such. So meditation is something that can give you that long episodes of that internal calmness or that internal intimacy within yourself.
Right.
So all of these thoughts about basically, I would say our existence is in our thoughts. It's in the early morning. It's not our legs or it is our hand or the hair that wakes up as something coming back, a sensation into the body that I am alive, that I am in this place. This is where I stay. So I would basically say your existence for you, if you are in a deep, deep sleep, when you wake up, it is the mind that comes back, and that gives you an existence of yourself and the rest of the world. So in order to be in tune with that existence of thoughts, also to be finding that is where all the thoughts begin from, where all these bubbles of thoughts actually rise from, finding the bottom roots of your very self. And that will really help from whatever you are, whoever you are, where you want it to be. It will take you there by just dropping deep in towards that basics of who you truly are. And meditation is one of the act that actually can help to find it. From my personal experience, well, this is a long story, so I don't want it to go too gig talking on it. But as everybody has a history, and with yoga and meditation and the mythological stories has been live and very well exposed around the Indian culture. So even though I happen to hear the stories of beautiful manifested avatars similar to Jesus, it also has them into other kinds of like Krishna and Rama, but they all said lots of beautiful things. And if you are not in that kind of understanding stream, it's difficult to make them into a life philosophy. So when you really stand on a place and really meeting the world from a different point of view, that is, here, this is me and this is the world, or slowly to see, is it my basic substance and the world basic substance, is that has some link? Otherwise, you run towards one direction and the world is spinning on the other direction. You see that you're looking up, but you not even know which part of the earth you are to see if you're really looking up, because it's supposed to be round. So these kind of imaginary confusion and diseases of the mind can be healed or made better understood. That's what at least did to me.
Yeah. So it brings an opportunity for more, just for more clarity to sort of see beyond just see beyond many of the, you could say, false perspectives or false ways of viewing the world. No,
Exactly.
Like for me, and it's like I enjoy listening to what you just said, because regardless of who is listening today, or regardless of, you know, where we are and what stage we're at in our own, you know, awareness or evolution or whatever word we want to choose, what I take from what you just said is that with meditation, we're also, you know, we're also enabling ourselves to connect to the intelligence of who we really are, you know, and connect to that sort of deep wisdom and insight that is clearly in every expression of life force. Would that be right in sort of saying that? You know, it's not like it comes from these messages. I remember when in your sessions that you was talking about some of the Indian metaphors and the stories of life, and you was really like breaking them down and showing how, you know, how they correlate and really connect us to the deeper wisdom that we have. And sometimes I find that humans have lost that with all these outward distractions and outward concepts of what reality is like, and missed really connecting to that deep inner innate intelligence of all these like pulsating cells and atoms and so on. So I don't know what comes up for you, but that's what you know, that's what I'm taking from listening to you there. It's like reconnecting to, you know, to that sort of truth beyond words even.
Exactly. If you really understand what is really keeps you alive in this very moment, and that is in every single parts of your body, and that liveness is the joy, is the bliss, it is the happiness. So meditation can actually self-actualize you to completely what you are, and I can tell you, it is the true bliss. That's what your nature is. But we kind of approach from a different directions, and hopefully one day we all get to feel this sooner than later. So at least we have a good time together on this earth.
Right. Yeah. And actually I love you just said that, because yeah, what like when I speak to some people, Ratheesh, there's this idea that, you know, there's no way with all the multiple ways of the way humans are, and the multiple distractions and the multiple experiences, and this universe just constantly throws us so many, like almost, I don't know if you've had this experience on your path, but you know, you can be looking somewhere and you think, you know, there, and then all of a sudden the universe says, hey, you haven't looked over here, and it sort of throws you a little curveball, and you go, okay, yeah, and then you go, you know, you get pulled into another direction. And you know, this sense of self-actualization and personal freedom, which, you know, is a path that I've really gone on a quest to explore within myself, and obviously began on the outside of myself. Do you feel that is a path of, you know, the human being? Is that a path for everyone, Ratheesh, or is it just that some people will just not ever choose that path of self-actualization?
Well, it's there is always you know, some of our fellow beings they just like to disagree, and to, you know, especially this is a big subject. There's a lot of focus has been drawn to it. So as long as you say something and that is like a little against, it's a kind of drawing attention in other ways, or some of the personalities are like that. They just disagree, or just they can always find critics. And that's okay. They will receive what they are aiming in their life. So it's just totally fine. But there is an underlying unity within every one of us, and that's for you know, this world is not just only philosophical poetry anymore. These words are really worked and tested through the great science, and science really find many of this poetic expression of the life and the unity of consciousness in every one of us. It's kind of a provable thing. I do not know how the scientific world exactly words it or language it, but I think they have understood a great deal. So all these individuals that just disagree with this unity, maybe you should direct them to look into the scientific world, because a science is a part of a study. They really test a long time and really look into the logistic and so on before they start to say anything. So maybe they need an education to understand.
Yeah, yeah. And when you say that underlying unity of connection, it's like, I think sometimes, and especially, you know, I guess we're, you know, from my perspective, we're very much these exploring, like even humanity on a whole, like the collective consciousness, if you will, the collective of our species right now. It seems to be such a interesting stage for me of so many different paths and ways that we can head, and you know, so many different concepts and theories being thrown out there, you know, and you know, and shifted. Some of them are totally, in my opinion, quite crazy and way far out there. And I guess the planet's quite far out there anyway, right? This whole experience is quite far out there, but you know, some of them are quite, they seem like crazy. And then others, you know, they sort of have a real inkling. And this, you know, this idea of oneness and interconnectedness and this through line of unity, where if you pulled, wasn't it somebody said that if you pulled a string in nature and continued to keep pulling it, you'll soon find that, you know, absolutely everything is connected on some level, because it's all, you know, it's all interconnected. And when you look at sacred geometry and you look at other mathematical ways of looking at reality, you sort of see the interconnectedness of everything. What I think sometimes maybe, Ratheesh, is, I don't know, maybe thinking is the wrong thing to do, but what I observe sometimes is there's just so many different opinions of what that interconnectedness feels like. So it feels like we're birthing this sort of new language is merging through on the collective, but it has to sort of, you know, I guess reach a certain mass amount or a tipping point before maybe it becomes graspable for everybody. Does that make sense? Because even science is like, it comes up with things, and then, you know, 10 years later that's different. Like at the moment there's that crazy talk that now the world's flat again, you know, the world's not round, it's now flat again, you know, and there's all information coming. So it's like, we, you know, it's like, I don't know, it feels sometimes we're being pulled around on a merry-go-round, and maybe that's why silence and meditation just brings you straight back to just dropping all of that craziness.
Yeah, it's people are on a journey with the different levels. So many of the people understood, and partly it is so. Some people may not gonna understand this, and that's okay too. We all have we are free individuals to believe. By the way, wording become very important here. Believe means you're just agreeing to something that is not, you don't know to be sure, but you think so. But to knowing, to know in deep within. So
right.
People are in a journey of looking for themselves in different levels. And I think if you do practice this self-silence and using the body in a conscious way with the breathing, you might get a fast train than going on maybe a bullock cart. But that's up to you. You know, maybe you enjoy the slow ride.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's many different speeds, right?
Exactly.
So I think as well, because we're on this Yoga Makes a Difference campaign at the moment, and we're wanting to take you know, this noble mission of yours to share. I sort of feel like calling it gifted yoga, because sometimes when I say free education, that word free sometimes has lost the power sometimes. Like it's like you're given this gift of 10 days of yoga, your philosophy and your experience from being yoga. I always like what you said, yoga sharers. You said that, you know, nobody teaches yoga. You said to me once, we share yoga. We're sharing the small amount. Do you remember when you said that to me?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And just speak to that for people listening, because I know so many people out there that call themselves yoga teachers now, and this is not to by any means put them down, but that really resonated with me when you told me that day. You just said, hey, you know, this is so vast that I'm just sharing it. Do you want to just speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, yoga can be described in many different ways. Here we are talking one aspect along with the breath and maybe the philosophy and the physical practice. That's just a little part of the yoga. By the way, the most of us do yoga asanas, the physical parts of it. So that, I mean, I know many of you already know this, but the yoga is something actually undescribable, because it could be connected to the entirety of it. The link, to create that link. So let's say if you really can grasp that the totality of this yoga and whatever the world that you live in, you still have that peaceful breathing and not affected by the environmental time and space, then maybe you can call yourself a teacher. Otherwise, what I would say, what helped you in your life, you may share it with others. So I do not, definitely can't call myself a yoga teacher or the yoga master. It's something that is you actualize on your self path, and then little from what you know, you serve it to others with the right ingredients of your personal touch. And some people will connect and find the taste in it, some people won't. But there are also other people doing the same service as a selfless duty and the life that's been given to them. So I would definitely say it's a sharing. But
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, but of course, if you do, is mostly what is known that people who teaches yoga is the yoga teachers.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's also a little bit because we have to unfortunately commercialize and make things a business, right?
Yeah, I think that's why they're being forced to call that.
Yeah, because in our society, it's like you know, if you're a teacher, you're respected and revered, and we're so caught up. In fact, when I was listening to you and Caroline talk on the last conversation we had last week, I was always thinking that when you and I talk about love, and I remember our talk on self-love, and that yoga really brings you back to this vast ocean of love within yourself, or being, or life force, you know, again, for people listening, whatever word really resonates with you. And for me, Ratheesh, everything falls away when you really connect to the vastness of who you know, who and what we are beyond, you know, all of these labels. And what I notice out there, it's just like we're still, and maybe this has to happen until we can evolve past it. But whenever in society something has to become commercial or a product, which, let's face it, everything is a product, everything's for sale. You know, even oxygen is for sale now, right? And you know, they're probably going to be selling prana in bottles soon, you know. But because everything's for sale, I think sometimes, you know, what happens then is the competitive nature, the subtlety of the out of aligned ego, that competitive nature, that sort of comparisons and all this other stuff, you know, filters in no matter what it is, whether it's yoga or not, you know. So sometimes I feel, you know, love and yoga and these beautiful gifts, like you said, this sort of selfless gift that you want to just share because it's so rich and so powerful and so abundant. It's almost like it has to be given and first. And I know, of course, you are a yoga practitioner and you share and you have classes, and I know people come and have to pay. And of course, we need money to function here. But I'd love you just to share a few of your, you know, what comes up for you on that. Is there anything there that arises for you? And if not, don't worry. I'm just feeling into that.
Well, it says that the state of mind and the health that you are in your body, you should also spread it around. So it's not only you have that feel-good sensation, your entire, you know, at least your neighbors and your friends. So it's very unfair to let pass something without letting other people know, if you have had an experience from it, how it can makes you feel worthy and feel strong and vibrant, and to really actually climb a place within what you are. So there's so many individuals today, it's like they're lost a sense of direction. And if many of us really involve within ourselves and then also start to share it, our communities and the friends or the people, actually, you know, some of the people that you really think around is they're doing fine, but in the moments, you know, they can open up to you. And if you have some word that is positive, It doesn't have to be a physical instruction of the yoga asanas or talking a great philosophy, but just being understandable and open enough. So if we have that energy of understanding, basically those kind of individuals around us can get that same help. So it is just like, if you are in knowledge with something, and if somebody's heading towards the other direction, just standing and watching, it's actually, you should blame yourself in a way that, you could do something, but you just let it pass. For me, every day when I wake up, I can, maybe it's not the larger amount, but I will always think today, somewhere in the world, someplace, somebody is doing a yoga, and that I've been a reason to start that process. So in a way, that's always drives me in order to share it or spread it more. So it's very important to me, and many of the people that I associate with day-to-day basis, I can also understand there's a great energy from them as well, begin to resonate after we practice yoga and meditation together, sharing some of the ideas. And it's simple. It's simple. It's a simple thing. You just have to sometimes hear it through a story or from an emotional personal experiences, and that you can really relate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though it is on sale, everybody need that place. And if you have a house, you have 5 bills, or the car, the insurance, the petrol, maintenance, tax. So we kind of help each other to spread the life around.
Yeah.
So commercialism, I don't think it's bad. Social media, I don't think it's bad. You just have to use it correctly, so you won't become addicted to it.
Yeah, and actually, as you're saying that, because I always bring this up as a point of conversation, but purely to break it down, because there's something birthing through that I see in the world, and that really is that sense of, in order for the human species, from my dream, my perspective is that if we don't unite, collaborate, and come together, which we all know is that at the core, so many of us humans, for whatever reason, are seeking connection, real connection, authentic connection. And as you've pointed out before in the conversations we've had, and something I point out to a lot of people, is that first we have to find that connection with ourselves, which is what yoga, meditation, and other tools, whether it be Tai Chi and Qigong and many other modalities, martial arts, running, exercise, it can be any way to really deeply connect to yourself. And then from that place of really deeply connecting to yourself, you can connect with the world in a much more beautiful, authentic way. And one of the things I feel that we're going to start to see in our society as more and more systems crumble and more and more of our society structures fall, is that these new ways of still sharing. So yeah, like you just said, we need fuel, still need to pay for things and live. But if we can come together, like I'd love to see yoga communities around the world coming together to actually create spaces where, maybe, the wealth of that generation comes in to support everybody in the community of that, where, those that can't afford it get to come and do a class, or like every yoga teacher on the planet once a week does a yoga session as a gift, as a gift it forward, or something that is just in essence a unification of the yoga across the planet. And the same, and I speak to the people out there that are talking about self-love and unconditional love and all these like self-development and self-loving acts, which have become commercial, but like I'd love to see these also creating really beautiful hubs of just selfless, loving, kind acts. And which I think, and not to take away from anybody out there in the world that are already doing this, and not to take away from anybody out there who feels this, but can't even, they can't even scratch ends together. They can't even make a bit of money at the moment to even express and share their gifts. So I see with the gift economy, and this is why I love what you're doing, Ratheesh and Caroline, with the gift economy and the new ways of exchanging from heart to heart, I'm seeing a much more beautiful, sacred exchange and economy coming. And I know Charles Eisenstein talks about this, but that's just my little dream, Ratheesh.
It's a candle. let's say we are all a candle, and we have that thread standing up within. But if you go to someone who is holding a lighted candle, then in his or her hand, you just go and just take the light and your candle flame. And then you look at it, doesn't matter how many candles that has been lit up from that single candle, the light of the first candle is still pure as the same. And then you look at it, all the candle has been actually lighted from this. It's spread the lights around. Yeah. And I'm quite certain that many of us already have the candle, many of us are already lighted. We just have to unite and say, this is one light. Your light is not blue or mine is yellow, it's one light. So if that's much understood, the separation from anything, not only the yoga, the great brothers and sisters on the other human-drawn boundaries of countries, everything can unite. But it's probably, as some people just think this is a silly, crazy talk, which we have rules and regulations. But I can tell you, you all breathe the same air. There is no separation or boundaries on that. And I don't think anybody has a green blood than red.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I would really say we shall all really take a look at what we're arguing on.
Yes.
What we're really arguing on.
Yeah, true. And and drop into that. Yeah, drop into that. Yeah, unification. And so much falls away in that place. So I'm going to ask a question, and I'm going to go and get my looks like my plug. And we're nearly coming to an end now. But I love you. Yeah. What's happening in you at this moment? Is there anything that you'd like to, like, based on what we've just spoken about, or based on people might be listening to this and coming their way? Is there anything that you feel you'd like to share before I ask you another question, or I bring something forward? Because if there's anything that's burning to come through at this moment, then we can bring it alive now. And I'll be back in 1 second. You can begin now.
Yoga, as I mentioned, yoga is a step-by-step procedure. Really can gives us health and vitality for the physical body, as well as slowing down the natural turbulences of the human brain and thought wave. It's not only through yoga you can do that. There are many other holistic messages I've mentioned throughout the world, within different cultures and religions and castes. But as long as you take it for the purpose of self-understanding or actualizing, any of these things could help us. So I think the most simple thing is that just to be thankful every day that you can actually wake up. You are alive, you are breathing, and then you have to consider everything else.
Awesome. Hold that thought, Ratheesh. Bear with me for 1 second.
Okay.
Stay there. You can talk. You can feel free to say anything, or I'm going to be back in 1 second.
I'm talking too much anyway, so I shut up now.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Okay.
This is the interlude music.
You're holding a telephone line.
Okay.
Yes, Sam.
Wonderful. Sorry about that. We have to do a move because I decided to sit outside, and then I was like, what if I sit outside, which would be good. I'm going to have to plug in so everyone's coming with me on a journey. Hi, everyone. Where are you? You're coming with me on. This is the change around as we close this talk. This is what happens when you sit outside and your battery goes dead. One moment. Boom, boom, boom. Sorry about that, Ratheesh.
Yeah, no problem. You just have to, after the Simon on the sofa / Simon on the balcony. Don't forget that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would say. Okay, so we just had to get that charge in there. That was scary because I thought we might lose each other. Okay, not so scary, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, I'm going to ask you whatever you just shared there. I hope the viewers, I'm sure the viewers loved. I left you there just waxing lyrical, and I'm telepathically tuning into what you said. But I'm gonna finish on, unless you mentioned anything on this, just why I went to get my plug. Why is self-love? This is a question I've been asking people recently, Ratheesh, and I'd love to finish our conversation on this question for people.
Yeah, please go.
In your opinion, why is self-love so important at this time in humanity? It might have always been, but I'd love to hear what pops up for you. And if you might not even agree that it is. So you don't feel that, it's just a question I've been asking people.
Mm-hmm. First of all, in order to understand what self-love, it's just the two words, right? Self. What is yourself? That is the first question. And I would simply say, what feeds the self is the love. What is the food for the self is the love. It's inseparable. So first understand what is the self, and then just to get this, the love is the food, or love is the existence for yourself. So it is in every one of us. Just to sit down and just consider that.
Very nice. Yeah. So just the considering, just the pondering of what that really means, right? Not just throwing it out there that we love ourselves and so on, but actually what do those two words really?
Yeah.
What do they really mean?
If you do not have a great actual meaning behind, some words are nonsensical babbling of mad mind. So to really get the vibration of the words that you're using and speaking.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Okay. Wow. See how hours fly by.
We're all fly by.
They're all flying by. They're just flying by our consciousness. Okay, amazing. So for everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. Sorry for the last little few moments where I had to run off and get the plug, if that was by any means distracting you in any way. I'm sure what Ratheesh shared was worthy of listening to. So just to remind you, Yoga Makes the Difference is a mission, vision, an idea that Carolyn and Ratheesh had to take yoga education around the world. One of the beautiful things that Ratheesh also brought to my reality with the yoga was that yoga can be practiced by everybody, no matter where you're from, no matter what age, no matter what your religious beliefs, no matter what you think you are or not. And the other thing is that most people in the Western world have got a little bit caught up on looking good and looking good in your asanas, and the asanas have to be a certain way. I like to work on my technique and my practice. But one of the things that also Ratheesh brought to my reality was that the asanas are a tool. They are actually a tool for you to be able to sit. They are actually accessing, and Ratheesh will tell me if I'm wrong here, but opening doorways and enabling you to open your body so that you can actually sit and actually go on the journey with it inwards even more. Is that right in me saying that, Ratheesh, from your perspective?
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you. So anyone can do that. We can stretch, we can put ourselves in these positions. You don't have to get your leg right up if your leg doesn't go right up. This is what Ratheesh shares, like where you can get it to go, let it go to there and breathe and just connect to your body and your breath. And this is the mission of Yoga Makes a Difference. It's not just to create more yoga teachers around the world and give them a 16-day or however long teachers training. This is 10 days free education in how to deeply connect to yourself. If you've been practicing yoga, then you might want to go on one of these trainings. And then the beautiful seed is Karma Yoga to give back once a week to somebody. Share, like Ratheesh said earlier, you get given something beautiful, a seed of a nugget of kindness, a nugget of love, a nugget of light, a nugget of goodness. And then you want to share that goodness. You want to share your food, as Ratheesh said earlier. And that is what Yoga Makes a Difference is. It's very simple. The beautiful, selfless act of kindness. And we're raising enough money to send Ratheesh and Caroline to 7 different countries to begin with. And then who knows, however many countries. They're going to continue because they want to continually share what they've been given through yoga. So if I said everything there, Ratheesh, is there anything you want to add to that?
Well, I can say, please help us. And then we will together help our communities, perhaps even our countries, and hopefully much, much more.
Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Ratheesh, I'd like to say thank you as always. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for showing up today.
Oh, sure. And thank you. Thank you for also giving me an opportunity to share some of the ideas and things that help me in my life. So I'm very happy to sit with you and share it to the rest of us.
Yeah, super. And we will speak again soon. And I was going to say goodbye. You can hang there for a moment, Ratheesh, and then we'll say goodbye at the end. Okay.
Thank you.
Just a couple more minutes. Thank you, brother. There you go. I love these conversations. I love meeting beautiful people. Everyone that's sat on the sofa is such a beautiful reflection, just as every what are we, 7.5 billion humans, not to take into account all the beautiful nature and the all sentient beings. Like, this life is such a gift. If I can be remembered for one thing, if I even need to be remembered, is that, please, this life is a gift. It's such a gift. And just from that gift in this moment of being alive, the gift back is to just, in my opinion, make more people realize that they are a gift. Just make more people realize that they are a magnificent, beautiful expression of life. So if you like these conversations, please, you can support me by becoming a patron, and that will give in $1, $2, $3, and you become part of the community. And you get little gifts back as well. And if you really love what Ratheesh and I have been sharing today, and you want to support Ratheesh and Caroline to travel around the world and share more beautiful yoga, then please go to the link below this video, hit on the crowdfunding campaign. We have 25 from today, which is the 16th of May, 2016. We have 25 more days. If you're watching this after that date, then you can come and just observe and see where we got to and what countries we're in now and what's happening at the links below this video, yogamakes-a-difference.com and yogamakes.com, and the Indiegogo campaign will be below as well. So thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing that with us today and being with us and sending you love wherever you are. Bye-bye.